Well, welcome back. We are waiting to hear from President Biden today. He is proposing a plan that would raise taxes on Americans making more than $400,000 a year, while also reducing what Medicare pays for prescription drugs. The president wrote an op-ed in the New York Times this morning saying, quote, "The budget I am releasing this week will make the Medicare trust fund solvent beyond 2050 without cutting a penny in benefits. In fact, we can get better value, making sure Americans receive better care for the money they pay into Medicare." Now, this part of the White House's broader 2024 budget proposal is set to be released on Thursday. We will hear more details on Biden's budget come Thursday. Former Speaker of the House and Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich is with us this morning. And Newt, I want to get your take on what we're going to get from President Biden. He says he's not going to raise taxes on anybody making more than $400,000. But of course, we know that they're also considering crystallizing what tips waiters and waitresses make so that they could get some tax revenue from tip revenue as well.
Look,
So
I don't think they set out to hire 87,000 Internal Revenue agents for the purpose of going after a handful of billionaires. I think that they want to hire all those agents to go after small business, to go after people who are bartenders, waitresses, plumbers, people who drive cars, Uber drivers. I mean, the fact is, if you're for really, really big government, you're inevitably for a smaller economy, and you are for chasing down every penny. Cliss and I used to live in Italy, and you'd see the Italian government desperate to get every penny it could out of people, who, by the way, were then desperate to hide all their income so the government couldn't get it. We're drifting down that cycle, and his proposal to raise taxes, people just need to remember, tax increases slow economic growth, make us weaker and more vulnerable, are a huge help to China in competing with us, and this is just the wrong direction. If we went to transparency in cost and quality in healthcare, we would, in fact, by that step, dramatically help the entire economy, help every business, help every person who's out there as a potential patient, and at the same time, dramatically improve the future of Medicare and Medicaid. So I think the choice is to modernize the system or to keep gouging Americans for more and more money.
yeah, I want to ask you about, some of these issues that you would think should be bipartisan. And I know that there's been a lot of bipartisanship underway. I want to get you to talk about that in the 118th Congress. But first, let's get to COVID for a second, because new emails reveal that Dr. Anthony Fauci, after he learned that all the doctors said it probably was unleashed in a lab and it could have been engineered by someone, Anthony Fauci commissions a February 2020 paper to discredit the COVID-19 leak out of a Wuhan lab. This happening weeks before pretending that he wasn't involved in any study at all when he was at the White House press conference. Newt, you have a new Fox News op-ed out. You say this is the biggest scandal in American history. You write, quote, "The same experts who are paid by the American people and given tens of billions of dollars to invest in research decided that they would deliberately mislead the American people." Tell us more.
Look, I mean, it is the biggest scandal in American history. Over 1 million Americans died. Over 38 million people died worldwide. The economy was wrecked for a year and a half. Children found themselves lacking education and lacking social relationships, leaving a permanent, I think, damage on an entire generation. And we now know, and I'm horrified, I was one of the people who fought to dramatically increase, to more than double, the National Institutes of Health budget. And we now know that some of the highest paid, most respected public officials in this country methodically didn't just lie. They plotted together. They worked to deceive the American people. They represented falsehoods. And they did so because they thought they were gods. They thought we were just simple mortals, and they were going to somehow tell us right. Fauci will go down in history as one of the most destructive and dangerous people in American history. People died because of Fauci. Billions and trillions were spent because of Fauci. Even today, we don't yet know the full truth, and I think the Congress has to have a commission such as Senator Marshall has introduced to look at this thing beyond partisanship. We deserve to know just how bad the Center for Disease Control was, just how bad the experts, the so-called experts at the National Institutes of Health were. We can't walk off from 1 million dead Americans and trillions of dollars in spending and not demand the truth. And that's why I wrote that newsletter, which came out of Gingrich 360.
Well, you know, Newt, what about the cabinet? I mean, the ineptitude, they want, you know, illegals to vote in D.C. You've got a transportation secretary that was MIA when you had, you know, all planes grounded. First time we saw that since 9/11. He was nowhere to be found. You had train tracks off the, you know, trains off the track and the cancerous materials. He was MIA, not to mention the supply chain issues.
Look, I think the incompetence of the Biden cabinet is a good warning of what's happening in medical schools, what's happening across the country. When you start not looking for excellence, not looking for merit, but you start looking for, do they fit a particular idea? I mean, Buttigieg's great ability to serve as Secretary of Transportation is that he is gay, he's married to a gay person, they have children. It's a lovely story. He just doesn't know anything about transportation. And increasingly, you're seeing this woke system in colleges, in medical schools, and it's going to come back, and people are going to die because incompetence was tolerated on behalf of some kind of equity of outcome, not competence of outcome, equity.
Yeah, Newt, it's great to have you this morning. Newt Gingrich, John Levine, thank you.